Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Master Builder Show, sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford. I am your host, Jim Gibson. I am president of Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, a graduate master builder certified by the National Association of Home Builders. I'm also a member of the National Green Building Council, the Texas Association of Home Builders, the National Association of Home Builders, and also Greater Fort Worth Builders Association, and I'm past president of the Parker County Builders Association. Today's topic is going to be countertops, solid surfaces for kitchens and bath. My guest today is Ronnie. No, I got the wrong thing here, don't I? It's it. Here we go. Bart Bagley with Durmar. You're vice president, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And I also have my wife here, Jean Gibson.
It certainly does.
Well, you can get up there close to your mic where they can hear you. There you go. All right. This show is designed to educate and answer any questions that listeners may have on construction or doing remodeling or anything that deals with residential construction. And you had some stuff you wanted to talk about this morning.
I want to tell you about my trip.
All right. Tell me about it.
I was up in Chicago last week, and it was a suburb of Chicago. It wasn't downtown. And it was the Frank Lloyd Wright haven of design. I stayed in a house that had a full basement and then 2 stories above that, a total of 5,100 square foot of heated and cooled space in a craftsman-style house. And it was beautiful. And so I started looking at the place and asking questions.
You said it was 5,100 square feet, and that's total living?
Yes.
That's just living area. Huh?
That's living area. There's an attached 3-car garage. My
brother-in-law can afford it, I guess.
Well, we don't go into that because he's going to be listening to this. But the point was, I was asking him about his efficiencies. There was 12 inches of snow and the temperature was a roaring 0. And I touched the windows. And yes, they were cool, but they weren't cold. They've got a bank of windows across the whole back of the house, looking out into a snowy backyard. And it was comfortable. And it was a beautifully built house, a lot of detail. Ubatuba countertops over there, sir.
Granite.
Yeah. And I asked, being the nosy self that I am, more details about their house. They have gas, heat, hot water with a high-efficiency gas hot water heater.
Tankless, or do you know?
No, it's not tankless. No. It has a small tank. It's not a 50-gallon or whatever the regular big things are. And they cook with gas. His year-round electric and gas bills are under $200 a month.
That's combined, gas and electric?
Yes.
That's not bad at all.
That's not bad. That's amazing.
Did he have the house built for him? Or
no.
Did he just move it?
No, it's a custom green builder up there in Wheaton, Illinois. It's west of Chicago, west of the city. Hardy plank siding. They paint houses up there. Yeah. All different colors. Jim hates painted houses, and I love them. And with that much square footage, I was really impressed how efficient that house was. There just weren't doorways, outside doors didn't leak. A lot of detail on that house that was beautiful. And it was the craftsman style. So that was impressive. I drove around the city and looked at a lot of houses. I'm ready to move up into one of those.
I'm not ready for the cold, though. I can't stand that 0 and below 0 and 12 inches of snow on the ground.
Yeah, and they've got another blizzard coming today. But I just wanted to tell you about that. Oh, and I found out that their attic was blown in cellulose.
Well,
and he has no idea what's in the walls.
He doesn't.
He doesn't know what's in there. All he knows is his utility bills are low, and the temperature is set at 69 degrees, and it's comfortable.
All right. If y'all have any questions, you can call us at 877-341-8950. That's 877-341-8950. Bart, tell us a little bit about your product.
We have a kitchen and bath business out of Granbury, and we do granite countertops. We do any kind of natural stone that's available. We do cultured marble products for the bathrooms, true stone, and we do premium whirlpool baths.
We used some of that true stone in that house in Decatur we built, and
yes, sir.
we really loved that. We even when the people came out and looked at it, because they had granite countertops in there, and they had matched their granite with that true stone, and really just by looking, you couldn't tell it wasn't granite.
When the samples were first brought to me, I'm the natural stone guy at our company, and I was really surprised. Couldn't tell the difference between those and some of the natural products we do just by looking at them. When you get them real close, the thickness of the material gives it away because it's not a material that has to be so thick for the shower wall. The countertops can be made to match your shower. It's a great product.
What are we talking about?
It's a true stone. It's like
but what is it?
It's like a cultured marble. You know what
it is? Cultured marble. It is a product that's poured into a mold, cast into molds. But there's a process by which you burn the image of natural stone. Any digital photograph that you can take, you can burn the image of that into your shower wall. So, Jim, we could put a picture of you taking a shower in your shower.
Oh, what a thought. I may never wash again. That's a lot of the reason why I wanted to talk to you was to find out, differentiate what the materials are. There's a lot of assumptions when you talk about cultured marble. Well, people like me don't know what they are. I want to know how to take care of them. And I know I'm jumping all over the place, but I do this to Jim. But if you would do me a favor when you talk about products, like the one you were just talking about, what's it made of and how do you take care of it?
Well, it's the product's been made for 40 years. It was developed out of California back in the 60s, and then it migrated across the United States fairly quickly. It was a polymer science product. It's made out of polyester resins and natural marble dust fillers, and then they use pigments to mix into that batch to create your colors and veining and whatnot. But it is a man-made, for the most part, product with some natural materials in it.
So are you saying it's plastic?
Well, it's a polyester resin-based product, so it does have some of the same products that are in plastics.
But you can't push it and flex it like a plastic tub.
There's a catalyst that we use to when it's poured. It's kind of like I guess like a syrup or a mud,
right?
And that catalyst kicks off within so many moments, and then you can pull it off the mold and it's stiffened up.
Well, you've seen the cultured marble. We use those in just about all our houses.
But I wouldn't know cultured marble from uncultured marble.
Cultured marble is crushed quartz, correct? Or
Well,
crushed granite.
Well, actually, the only natural product in that cultured marble is the marble, the fine dust. It's a marble dust, and it's quarried out of the ground. Yeah. They also use it when you open up a wrapper of bubble gum.
Uh-huh.
That white dust that keeps that bubble gum from sticking to that wrapper is a form of marble dust.
And it's edible, huh?
It doesn't hurt you.
We can start saving it up, Jim.
Let's,
you could pour you a shower later.
Well, used to, I grew up during the laminate days when everything was Formica in the kitchens and all that. And it's gotten trendy, I guess it is, or more, I guess, desirable. The main thing now, we build a lot of our houses and everything's centered around the kitchen. Our kitchen, family, everything is all kind of one area now. They call them great rooms. But,
that is the common area.
It is the common area, and you spend, I guess, 90% of your time in there.
Mm. And, families like to congregate in the kitchen.
And granite is probably one of the better substances you can use for countertops, correct?
In my opinion, it's the best. It's the thing to do these days. It's the durability and the aesthetics of it is something that's very desirable.
What about like Corian, Zodiac, and Silestone?
And what are all those words?
Those are brand names.
Those aren't different products?
Yes, ma'am.
And they are crushed quartz or something like that? They're not either?
Well, the Corians and the Wilson Arts and the Fountainheads and the Gibraltar made by Wilson Art, those are plastic acrylics or modified acrylics. They are polyester resin-based or acrylic resin-based products also. So there's no natural material in those. They're just chips of different plastics, and they're congealed and poured into a mold also with a catalyst. And they're poured into sheets, and then they're glued up together to give you that effect of a heavier-looking countertop. But typically those are half-inch thick sheets, and then they cut the strips up and then laminate them on the edges to make them look thicker. But those are plastics. They don't take heat very well.
Okay, so they're not to be used in kitchens?
Well, they use them in kitchens a lot, but you have to be a lot more careful with those than you do the quartz or the granite countertops.
Okay.
But weren't we told that, too, you don't use cultured marble in the kitchen for the same reason? So you're saying that's plastic with natural material for the cultured marble?
That's correct.
So you're melting plastic
Well, there's no melting involved necessarily.
But the scorching that can happen.
Well, yeah, you can. If you took an extremely hot pan off of a burner and you put it on a solid surface or the Corian type products, you would melt that countertop.
My goodness.
It's not unlike your plastic laminate, which is just a thin sheet of a plastic type material and with some other materials. And then you have your solid surfaces or your Corians and Wilson Arts, and those are a half-inch thick sheet of a plastic modified material, and those will melt. Your quartz-based products are mined bits of quartz. Now, that's a natural product that's quarried out of the ground, much like a diamond. And those are, I think it's the third hardest substance. There's a diamond and some other things, but that's a completely different product.
All right, looks like we've got to take a break. We'll be back in about a couple of minutes.
Did you know that some of the best home builders in the entire nation are right here in Parker County? Hello, everyone. This is Lynn Bearden, president of First National Bank of Weatherford. Our lenders believe your family deserves the best when it comes to your dream home. First National Bank is proud to support the Master Builder Show on QXFM. First National Bank in Weatherford has been building homes in Parker County since 1880. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
YourCircleOfWealth.com. A recent study by one of the world's largest financial institutions estimates that over 90% of baby boomers will not retire financially independent. We have prepared a financial report entitled Your Circle of Wealth. Learn how changing the way you manage your money can dramatically increase your wealth. To get a copy, you may go to www.yourcircleofwealth.com and enter the passcode Gibson, Gibson. That's YourCircleOfWealth.com.
Zion Hill Estates, 5 minutes from the center of Weatherford. Grocery stores, hospitals, banks, and department stores. In the Peaster School District. 1 acre lot minimums give you space to spread your arms and enjoy country living. Jim Gibson will build you the home of your dreams in Zion Hill Estates. North of the square to 920, left to Zion Hill Road, then 2.4 miles to Zion Hill Estates. Jim Gibson would like to show you the land in his energy-efficient model home. You can call Jim at 682-429-2116.
Fort Worth Lighting, serving the building professional in Parker, Wise, Palo Pinto, and surrounding counties. Services include planned takeoff, site walkthrough, and delivery. For an appointment with a Fort Worth Lighting consultant, the number is 817-597-6320, or the website is fortworthlighting.com. Again, it's 817-597-6320 for Fort Worth Lighting.
Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, 2401 Zion Hill Road, Weatherford, Texas, 682-429-2116. We specialize in homes to suit each and every individual that expects special attention. We help design, finance, and close on every home we build. We use green building techniques in all of our homes. You can contact Jim at masterbuildershow.com. Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, Weatherford, 682-429-2116. Welcome back to the Master Builder Show. I'm your host, Jim Gibson. Today's show is sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford. My guest today is Bart Bagley with Duramar and my wife, Jane Gibson. And we're talking about countertops and the different types of countertops. And primarily what we're talking about today is solid surfaces. And we were talking about the Corian product earlier, and we've kind of phased into the quartz. Tell us a little bit about the quartz products.
Well, there are many quartz manufacturers around the world. Most of them out of Italy or Spain, which are the big names that you know, the Silstones. There's also DuPont products that we do. Zodiac is the brand name of the DuPont product. They are naturally mined quartz pieces that are, they classify those once they dig them out of the ground in size and color. And then they have a recipe by which they're suspending that into a post-cured piece of polyester or modified polyester resin. Mm-hmm. So again, you've got that resin-based product that you're suspending those bits of quartz, and then they do a cross section of that, and that's how you see the depth in all that countertop.
Okay. There
are some clear ones and some maybe some different colored pieces of quartz in there, and they have depth. That's how you can see partway through that countertop because they have clarity.
And they are good for kitchen use.
You bet. They're really good. Non-porous and scratch and heat resistant.
Are they more expensive than granite, depending on what level of granite, I guess?
Well, they start off a little higher, but they cap off a little sooner. There's so much natural stone or God-made granite out there that there's like 600 different colors. And so, but granite has gotten down to where it's less expensive to do or as inexpensive to do as any other solid surface. The stone is classified by how much the raw material costs. And there's a lot of stone that's on the market right now that's reasonable to buy.
How is it priced? It's classed. I know it's grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, and I guess is it classed on or priced on availability?
Well, it's traded on the market. So if there's 20 different quarries producing the same aesthetically looking and quality stone, then that price of that stone is going to be lower, of course, because it's the market's flooded. If there's a particular type of stone that has great aesthetic qualities and has somewhat good structural integrity and is a good quality stone, and there's only 2 or 3 families, say in South America, who own quarries that produce that type of stone, they may get together and say, hey, let's only let out so many 100 slabs this year. And that'll keep the price of that stone up based on what's on the market and what it looks like.
So actually, they're cut, they're brought in, and then they're actually bid on by the different suppliers?
Well, no. What happens is if you have a quarry, the blocks are taken out of the side of the mountain,
right? And
you may have a supplier here, based here in North Texas or in California. A lot of them have multiple places around the United States and throughout the world, but they may have people that are actually at the quarry saying, "Okay, I want that block." And what they'll do is they'll tell the people who are harvesting that block, "Okay, I want 30 slabs of 3 centimeter out of that block. I want 50 slabs of 2 centimeter out of that block." So they're harvesting it at the thickness that the purchaser requests they're slicing it up how the people want it to be done. And then they put it on a container, and then they ship it over, and it hits the port of Houston or California, and then it's trucked up and put in their warehouses. And then fabricators like myself would send our customers, or Jim, your customer, up to the wholesaler to lay eyes on the stone. And then they call us and say, hey, I'm at such and such a supplier. I found the stone that I love for my kitchen. And then we would buy the stone, bring it to our warehouse, or they deliver it to our warehouse, and we cut it, shape it, and install it.
Well, and you said something about 1, 2, and 3, grade 1, 2, and 3. What's that about?
Well, what happens is when that quarry or whoever's harvesting the stone themselves actually has that stuff processed, or the vendor has their representative there and they're looking at that stone, they're the ones that are debating on how much they're bartering with each other on how much they're going to pay for that block. And of course, there's harvesting, and then there's the exchange rate against the euro. Where if it's sourced out of Italy, the euro's up against the dollar. So the European stones that are coming out right now have gone up, whereas the South American stones, where they've been harvested and processed there in South America, they remain pretty stagnant. So it depends on where it's sourced, what's the availability, and what the vendor has worked out with that supplier as to how much that stone is going to cost.
So it's not a quality difference.
Some of the most expensive stones are some of the least have some of the worst structural integrity, are the hardest to work with. But once we get through with them and we get them into your house, they're epoxy to the cabinet. I haven't had any issues with those.
Well, you're talking about the ones with the fossils in them and stuff like that have anomalies in them.
Anytime you have a lot of different minerals and whatnot, when you've got all the different veining and all these different minerals that may or may not have been completely fused together under the ground in high heat and temperature, some of those will have dry veins or fissures or that sort of thing. So it's important to have a fabricator that understands how that works. We install steel rods in those areas underneath the stone that most people don't even know they're there.
Right.
They act like rebar does in concrete, because that is a piece of rock. And if you're not careful while you're transporting those pieces, they can fracture and break. So we install a steel rod in the backside of the stone.
So the grades primarily deal with pricing instead of quality, is what we're saying.
Some of the lowest priced stones are some of the best. and they're some of the densest. But it just depends on how much of it's on the market.
They've got, you can go to there's several different types of grade 1 or several different colors of grade 1, several different colors of grade 2. So when I tell my customer, we're going to budget a grade 1 stone in here, they can go down, they'll have how many choices of colors, say, in a grade 1? It
depends on the vendor, but there's probably 10 or 15 stones at any given vendor, and some of them carry exclusive stones, and some of them are, a lot of the stones every carrier or every vendor will carry. But they'll in grade 1 there's quite a bit of selection. But again, it's going to be those stones that are the most common and that most people have.
On different, I guess, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, do the grade classifications change over like regularly, or do you have or they pretty well stay the same?
Here lately, there's been a lot of volatility, and the reason for that is what I alluded to earlier was that exchange rate. If they're sourcing a particular stone, or let's say a vendor here in North Texas is out of a stone, they don't have any. Well, they're losing business,
right? So
they're going to go out and they're going to send their representatives to wherever it takes to get that stone in. So they're not losing customers to other vendors who may have that stone in stock. So depending on where they had to go get that stone, that's going to determine how much they charge us, to buy the raw material. So, there's a lot of stuff going on these days because of exchange rates and where they're having to source some of the stone. What also happens is let's say you have a quarry that's operating and there's one out of Spain right now and it flooded, or it's shut down, or it's not producing stone that's of interior grade or countertop grade material.
Right.
Well, then that stone's not available anymore. And so what they do have here in stock, lots of times the vendors will raise the price because now they can't source that stone anymore. So it's an evolution. It's part of the real strange thing about granite.
Wow. Well, okay, we'll be back here in a couple of minutes. We've got to take another break.
Did you know that some of the best home builders in the entire nation are right here in Parker County? Hello, everyone. This is Lynn Bearden, president of First National Bank of Weatherford. Our lenders believe your family deserves the best when it comes to your dream home. First National Bank is proud to support the Master Builder Show on QXFM. First National Bank in Weatherford has been building homes in Parker County since 1880. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
YourCircleOfWealth.com. A recent study by one of the world's largest financial institutions estimates that over 90% of baby boomers will not retire financially independent. We have prepared a financial report entitled Your Circle of Wealth. Learn how changing the way you manage your money can dramatically increase your wealth. To get a copy, you may go to www.yourcircleofwealth.com and enter the passcode Gibson, Gibson. That's yourcircleofwealth.com.
Zion Hill Estates, 5 minutes from the center of Weatherford. Grocery stores, hospitals, banks, and department stores. In the Peaster School District. 1 acre lot minimums give you space to spread your arms and enjoy country living. Jim Gibson will build you the home of your dreams in Zion Hill Estates. North of the square to 920, left to Zion Hill Road, then 2.4 miles to Zion Hill Estates. Jim Gibson would like to show you the land in his energy-efficient model home. You can call Jim at 682-429-2116.
Fort Worth Lighting, serving Parker, Wise, Palo Pinto, and surrounding counties with a selection of interior and exterior lighting fixtures. They also have ceiling fans, mirrors, and vanities in all sizes. A lighting consultant will help you with your decisions. For an appointment with a Fort Worth Lighting consultant, the number is 817-597-6320, or the website is fortworthlighting.com. 817-597-6320 for Fort Worth Lighting.
Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, 2401 Zion Hill Road, Weatherford, Texas, 682-429-2116. We specialize in homes to suit each and every individual that expects special attention. We help design, finance, and close on every home we build. We use green building techniques in all of our homes. You can contact Jim at masterbuildershow.com. Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, Weatherford, 682-429-2116. Welcome back to the Master Builder Show. I am your host, Jim Gibson. Today's guest is Bart Bagley with Duramar, my wife Jean Gibson, and today's sponsor of the show is the First National Bank of Weatherford. And we were talking during the break about some of the myths on granite and stuff. And Bart, you were talking about maintenance, and let's go into that, because I was always told, back in early periods of granite, you have a hot pizza or something delivered and go in and set it on that granite countertop, and when you lift it up, there's a stain under there that couldn't be removed. But that's kind of a myth now, isn't it?
Well, back probably 10 years ago, the sealers weren't quite as good as they were, or they are now. And the quarries are now in the habit of resining the slab. And what that entails is when they slice, it's like a loaf of bread. When they break it out of the side of the mountain, it's like a block of bread. And they slice it up into the thickness that they want. They lay it over. And then they're pouring a resin over the top of that slab. Now that resin soaks into the stone because that stone is somewhat porous depending on the species. And that resin then has a catalyst in it. And it's going to solidify inside the stone, which makes the stone less porous.
Okay.
Now, the solid surface manufacturers and the quartz manufacturers for years have been bombarding the public with information about how granite was a maintenance nightmare.
Right.
And that's just not true anymore. The customers that I have, 98% of all we do is going to be a natural stone now because of the aesthetics, and they don't have problems with the granite.
What kind of maintenance is required on them now? I mean, do you have to wipe them down or seal them once a year? Or
Well, there are so many things on the market right now, but if you have a good daily cleanser and basically just use water to keep your countertops clean, it works really well. Some people will say that you want to use a white distilled vinegar and water solution once every so long, and that keeps bacteria and keeps it clean. It's just a good natural cleanser for your floors or for your countertops. But I've never personally done it, and I think maybe people just, it's in their minds, that they feel like they have to do something. But the sealing, we seal the countertops before we put them in. So as they're installed or before they're installed, we seal the countertops. What the sealer manufacturers now are saying is 3 to 5 years. So once every 3 to 5 years, depending on how much wiping and cleaning and doing all those things, you are they recommend that you reseal your countertops. Now, what that means is the liquid that's a sealer is much like a mineral spirits type of material.
Yeah.
You pour it on a rag, you wipe it on the countertop. You let it sit there for 60 to 90 seconds, and then you wipe it off with a clean countertop or clean cloth, and that's it. I mean, it's as easy as cleaning your countertop, and then you can use it right away. You're not building up anything, or it's not like painting or shellacking or waxing. Yeah. All it is a liquid that absorbs into the stone and then siliconizes or solidifies. It's very easy. It'll take you longer to clean off your countertops if you're at my house than it will to actually seal the countertops.
Wow.
Well, there's the products now and the commercials. Everybody's bug nervous, and so there's the Clorox wipes and the other chemicals that are out there, and constantly wiping down the countertop so we don't get poisoned by our own food. What are they going to do to the countertop and that surface? You're talking about just plain water. I don't know anybody that does just plain water to clean their kitchen.
Well, I guarantee you that all these manufacturers of the products that you're talking about, if you look on the back of there, it always says it's for natural granite, because granite's so popular now that all of these chemical cleaning supplies manufacturers are targeting that market because, used to, if you were building $1 million home, you're looking at granite.
Right.
Now, if you're building a $150,000 home, and I've put them in mobile homes. I mean, and now you're looking at granite no matter what.
Okay.
So all those manufacturers who are doing the chemicals and the cleaning products, they are targeting that market. So as long as you're looking on the back and it's saying specifically good for natural stone or granite countertops. Now there was a study done out in California, and this has been probably 3 or 4 years ago, on bacterial growth in countertops.
Yes.
Right.
And they did a study, and I don't have the details of that with me, but granite came out just below stainless steel. It actually came out above the plastic laminate for not harboring bacteria.
Well, one of the things that came up in a conversation this past week, part of what my my little brother does, is they do quality assurance programs for hospitals around the world. Mm-hmm. And he said it was a very amazing study that they had just come up with because the length of time that bacteria survives on surfaces. And the same bacteria that would survive on a plastic surface for 1 to 2 minutes can live up to 6 months on stainless steel. And I'm an old OR nurse, and one of the things you put all over the operating room is stainless steel. So I don't know that saying granite is just one step better than stainless steel is really a reassuring statement. But they're talking about the porous, and that stainless is porous, and that it's harboring bacteria. It's like the old betadine lids. Everybody slapped betadine and then found out that the edge of the container could grow staph. So it's very interesting. You have to look very closely at things.
What other materials you were talking about? Onyx, I think, earlier.
There's a
what
lot.
Is it?
Well, there's a lot of different types of natural or quarried stone, and granite is one of them. Then you have your natural marble that everybody sees statues out of, or the white, and there's all different colors: red, green, blue, all kind of different color marble. Then you have travertine. Then you have
what's travertine?
Travertine is where you have a lot of water flow. It could be on top of the earth by hot springs or geysers, and what that water coming out of the ground does is it has a lot of trace minerals, and so when that water hits the ground and evaporates, it's leaving all those trace minerals on the ground, and then they harvest blocks of that and slice them up for slabs too, and it's beautiful stuff.
Well, we use a lot of that for flooring.
Oh, that's right. That's why I know the name.
Yeah, that's the reason you know the name.
Yeah.
It's one of the most, I guess, desired type flooring. How does it hold up?
It's softer than granite, but like I said, with all the new technology and the sealers and the maintenance products, a lot of products that used to be a problem aren't a problem anymore. The other natural stones, besides limestone, travertine, there's also onyx. And Jim, at the break, you were talking about you've seen it where it was glowed or
right,
it had
translucent.
There are some onyxes that have a translucent property, and we've actually done, and we're working on one now, where you take a slab, recess it into a wall, and frame it with a box behind it, and have fluorescent panels or lights behind it, and so it's like a piece of God art on your wall.
I saw a piece of granite this week and in a showroom, and I asked them if it was like a mosaic of granite, and it was naturally occurring. It was the most magnificent. It looked like a painting. It was incredible.
We saw that over. I guess it was IMC showroom over here in Fort Worth, where we went, and they have it looks like a mural on the wall, and that you were saying was onyx.
Are you talking about the one that hits all the lines?
Yeah.
We actually did that. I hung all that, Jim. Thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, that's an onyx. It's called multicolor, and what that is, I don't know if you noticed that, but it was 9 pieces put together and book matched.
Right.
And that was something else.
What's book matched?
Well, what they do is there's 2 different ways to harvest a block. When you, just like if you had, imagine a loaf of bread and you slice it up and you pull each piece off and you butter the face of it. Well, they're polishing the face of it. Well, imagine if you took the first slab and you opened it up. And then
like you do a book.
Like you do a book, and you polish the back side of the first slab, and then the front side of the next slab, then the back side of the next. You understand?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's like an
accordion.
And when you do that, you can open those slabs up and then match the vein pattern to where it's continuous. Now
it looks like water flowing.
It's a very interesting way to harvest a slab. So it's real dramatic. Everybody ought to go over there to IMC and check out those slabs.
It's fascinating. Well, this also brings to mind that other than just countertops, you have other options for these materials. You can cover walls in them.
Well, you bet.
You can do whatever you can afford.
Yeah. But it's a piece of art. You
see a lot of that in building cladding. I mean, they've been using natural stone building cladding for 1,000 years or more.
But I thought they were using mammoth blocks, not sheets.
Well, the cladding is sheets. The Roman Colosseum is actually blocks and sheets of combined travertine, and then they also use that Roman concrete. in downtown Dallas and Fort Worth. I mean, they're actually 3/4 inch sheets of granite that are clad on the outside of the building. So, and a lot of that's local. A lot of that's out of Texas.
Yeah, the granite. I guess I'm most familiar with is that kind of pinkish with the little black specks in it.
Texas pearl or Texas
pearl.
rose.
Because that's on several buildings downtown.
Yes,
here.
sir.
And it seems to last forever.
It's coming out of the ground, so it's going to last outside for a long time.
Well, we were putting on Austin stone on some houses, and people were asking, well, is it going to hold up? And I'm going, well, it's about 60 million years old, so it ought.
What are the odds?
It ought to last a few more days.
Well, truthfully, it did occur to me with outside kitchens, what products are the best and safest?
Lots of granite. We're using lots of granite on these outdoor kitchens. Those are I'm glad you brought that up, Gene. That's really a popular thing to do right now is the outside, the grill areas, because lots of people like to entertain in Texas outside.
Yeah.
Well, you can go out there, and it actually just adds so much more to your living space, and it's really more desirable, I guess, to be outdoors. I like to spend most of my time outdoors. That's the reason I'm a builder. I'm out, most of the time on a job somewhere. And I'd go nuts if I was cooped up. So it's only natural that people migrate to the outside. It's healthy.
And who doesn't like barbecue, right?
That's right. We're a lot of barbecue.
Is there any temperature, weather distinction in products? That things that you could use down here in our extreme heat that you can't use up in the north where it's bitterly cold? Well,
heat and cold play different roles, I think, on countertop materials. Mm-hmm. But it's more the extreme from one to the other in a real small span of time, and that's thermal shock. When something goes from extreme cold to extreme heat, there are everything in the world is subject to thermal shock. It's like when you take a wine glass hot out of your dishwasher and you throw ice cubes in it and it breaks. That's thermal shock. Right. But the chances of that happening in a setting here or in a real extreme cold place are slim to none. We actually light granite on fire in the shop to dry it out because all the tooling is wet. Because it keeps the dust down, it keeps the guys from working in fog, right? Yeah, dusty mess, and so. That those items need to be dried out in order to put epoxy or put that rebar in that I was telling you about in the sink areas and in the fissure areas. So what they do is they'll pour a substance on there and light it on fire, and it's granite flambe.
Wow.
If anybody has any questions for Bart out there, please give us a call at 877-341-8950. That's 877-341-8950. And we're talking about countertops today and the different types of materials used. Okay, we've covered them all of them. We've still got some of the natural stones still left to go.
And I would like you to back up just a little bit on the care and feeding and differentiate for me this material and then the compounds, the resin compounds up to an all natural stone. On what are the limitations on any of them? And that's the other thing, even though they pour a resin on, just like I can scrape through the top of a Formica countertop in time, can you go through the tops of these finishes? Can you damage them with time? I want to know, I'm going to spend a lot of money. I want to know that in 20 years, I don't have the little black spots that you get in Formica.
It's very important to understand the limitations of the product that you put in any application. And as long as you understand those, it's going to help you to take care of those in the long term. Certain products are not to be had scouring or abrasives or those things put on them. And as long as you stay away from those items, those things are going to last for a long time.
And they are?
Well, like your cultured marble products,
You don't want to use steel wool on a cultured marble product.
But what about Ajax in the bathroom sink? What's that going to do to it?
There's usually no need for that. And the reason why I say that is because those products are made to really be resilient to the types of things that you need to scour with. Your cultured marble, true stone products, your plastic laminates, your onyx, travertine, marbles. You know, if you have an issue with those products, you might want to refer to someone who, you know, is familiar with them, or where you source them from, or the vendor that you bought them from. Because if you were to damage them, then you might be down to replacement instead of repair.
Right.
And so it's best to always check back with whoever it was that you sourced the material from, or ask an expert before you just go and get busy. Yeah.
And an issue that you're talking about is a gouge or a stain?
Yes, ma'am. A stain or something that may be in there that you're thinking you need to get out real quick. It's probably best to ask someone what the best way to get that out would be, or have them come look at it, because you sure don't want to ruin something by jumping in there with a product that's not, you know, meant for that product,
right,
and ruining it. But the granites and the quartz-based products, I mean, I've never had anybody ruin any of those because they are scratch and heat resistant. We take razor blades and scrape things off of them, and lots of the homeowners, if they're there while we're installing, just whoa, they really don't understand how that works. But the durability of that product, or that product has its own curing, cleaning, or maintenance issues, and so so you really want to be familiar with that product, you know, before you start jumping into maintaining or trying to repair any kind of countertop or.
What's a big no on that's kind of universal? What's the one thing that you don't put on these that's really glaring?
Put on what, though?
On these hard surfaces, on your composite hard surface or a resin covered surface. What's the one thing that's in a household household chemical?
Well, I can't think of any. Nothing's really coming to mind that I would say just really stay away from it. But one thing you don't want to do is, like Jim said, take anything that's really abrasive, like sandpaper, and try to sand anything out of a solid surface or a cultured marble product, because those products are really not made for the abrasive cleansers. Now, your granite and quartz products that are made for the kitchen or bath, those products are going to be resilient enough to get a little more aggressive. But you still want to, you know, whoever it is that you buy your products from, make sure that they're giving you the instruction on the care and maintenance, not that you're just assuming that something's okay to use.
Very good.
And it depends on the type, or the product. When you're asking that question, you're kind of throwing out a blanket on solid surface. Because,
well, it's true, because, you know, I do, well, like with my doll houses, and I'm building doll houses, I get glue on them. I use goof off. You know, I use all kinds of things.
We've got to take another break. We'll be back here in a couple of minutes.
Did you know that some of the best home builders in the entire nation are right here in Parker County? Hello, everyone. This is Lynn Bearden, president of First National Bank of Weatherford. Our lenders believe your family deserves the best when it comes to your dream home. First National Bank is proud to support the Master Builder Show on QXFM. First National Bank in Weatherford has been building homes in Parker County since 1880. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
YourCircleOfWealth.com. A recent study by one of the world's largest financial institutions estimates that over 90% of baby boomers will not retire financially independent. We have prepared a financial report entitled Your Circle of Wealth. Learn how changing the way you manage your money can dramatically increase your wealth. To get a copy, you may go to www.yourcircleofwealth.com and enter the passcode Gibson, Gibson. That's YourCircleOfWealth.com.
Zion Hill Estates, 5 minutes from the center of Weatherford. Grocery stores, hospitals, banks, and department stores. In the Peaster School District. 1 acre lot minimums give you space to spread your arms and enjoy country living. Jim Gibson will build you the home of your dreams in Zion Hill Estates. North of the square to 920, left to Zion Hill Road, then 2.4 miles to Zion Hill Estates. Jim Gibson would like to show you the land in his energy-efficient model home. You can call Jim at 682-429-2116.
Fort Worth Lighting, serving the building professional in Parker, Wise, Palo Pinto, and surrounding counties. Services include planned takeoff, site walkthrough, and delivery. For an appointment with a Fort Worth Lighting consultant, the number is 817-597-6320, or the website is fortworthlighting.com. Again, it's 817-597-6320 for Fort Worth Lighting.
Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, 2401 Zion Hill Road, Weatherford, Texas, 682-429-2116. We specialize in homes to suit each and every individual that expects special attention. We help design, finance, and close on every home we build. We use green building techniques in all of our homes. You can contact Jim at masterbuildershow.com. Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, Weatherford, 682-429-2116. Welcome back to the Master Builder Show. I am your host, Jim Gibson. Today's show is sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford. My guest today is Bart Bagley with Duramar, and my wife, Jean. And
yes, and I just asked Bart, tell me about concrete countertops, because we've seen them, and he rolled his eyes and said, ta-da.
Well, I've replaced quite a few of them, but
that's what
yeah.
A lot of times people want to experiment and try something new. And a lot of times it works out and it looks real good, but a lot of times it goes bad.
And you said that it's just hard to imagine. You figure you're putting a piece of concrete from like the driveway, and it should hold up forever.
Yeah, you still stain your driveway, though, unless you coat it with something.
Don't change your oil on your countertops.
Right.
Well, what they're doing with the concrete is they're using a sealer of some sort, and usually that doesn't just soak into the concrete. It's actually a top layer. It's quite the opposite of what we were talking about with the granite sealers. The granite sealers are a subsurface sealer that soak into the stone and then solidify. The concrete, what they're doing is it looks almost like a marine spar. It's pretty good thickness of a clear, and I've seen them a little thinner, a little thicker. But those coatings can be burned.
Right.
Oh.
Well,
you don't hear that at the trade shows. I'm sorry.
Well, you were saying you were doing some combination type countertops with wood and granite, and I guess some other types of substances.
Yes, sir. A lot of people like the butcher block, and they like to have
looks
that.
Good.
Looks good. Has that surface where you can cut on it and do all those things. And a lot of times what we'll do is incorporate a granite countertop and incorporate one end where the homeowner can use for the chopping and doing all that stuff, and it'll be either a maple or a mesquite. I've seen some pretty interesting types of
something that's hard.
Beautiful.
Some interesting types of grains of wood used on the end of an island where the granite and the wood come together.
So are you using slabs, or are you doing cuts of boards and putting them together, sandwiching them?
I've seen both. I don't actually do the wood, but I've seen a lot of interesting work, a lot of it up in Fort Worth, where the homeowners are wanting this end of the island to be used for the chopping. So,
what about tile? You don't do any tile, do you?
No, sir. Tile countertops. I've seen some that look really good. I wouldn't want them, but. And that's because I just don't like that rough textured countertop. But I mean, I have seen some that look pretty good. But in a kitchen application, I would really recommend that you steer away from those types of countertops because of the grout lines and
that's the problem with them. I began my life a million years ago with a kitchen, turquoise tile, and the grout was a nightmare.
Yes, ma'am.
But the tiles were shiny, smooth, really nice. They held up and the grout wore out.
And typically they hold up pretty good in the bathroom, but in a kitchen application they're just not as desirable, not as easy to maintain as a slab countertop. Now the backsplashes look great. I mean, everybody's going to the tumbled marble now, and I have it in my house. It has texture and depth and all the things that the shiny, slick granite doesn't have. And so you put those two elements together, and it really looks great.
Yeah, if y'all have any questions for Bart, or I, or Jean, or me, how about that?
Okay.
You can call us at 877-341-8950. That's 877-341-8950. I'm sure somebody out there has got some questions.
Well, I got another one.
You always have questions.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's why I think, call Bart. I want to find out about hard services. What was it? Huh?
You got to keep talking.
I just had a senior moment.
All right.
I had to stop and think for a second.
You lost your thought.
Oh yeah. Well, it came and it went. So.
Okay, Bart. Is there anything else that we haven't covered as far as types of countertops? What about soapstone or not soap?
Soapstone's one that I forgot, Jim. That product is a very dense material. It's softer than granite. You can dent it and scratch it, but most people that like that soapstone look are looking for old world look.
Right.
And as long as you understand the limitations of the product again, it's a great product. We just did a school laboratory out of that material. You know, it's very resilient to acids and all those chemicals that all
resilient,
the kids... Resistant?
Okay.
It's very non-porous, and it'll hold up against acids and all the things that they use in the school labs, all their experiments.
Yeah.
See, I always thought of soapstone as being more porous than granite, but I guess you're saying it's not.
It's exact opposite. It's softer, but it's less porous.
Huh. Well, yeah, that's something I've learned today, because I always steered away from using the soapstone because I thought it would absorb more than the granite would.
It's one of those things where it's a softer material, and you wouldn't think it would be less porous. And what you do to maintain that is you rub mineral oil on it, and it kind of soaks into that stone a little bit, and it gives it kind of that nice, wet, deep look. And it comes in gray, black, and the green. Do they actually make countertops out of it, or are you doing? Because most of the stuff I've seen has been like sink inserts and are actually sinks made out of it. No, you bet. We do quite a bit of countertop out of it. But you have to be looking for that kind of look, because it will kind of get beat up and that sort of thing. And most people have done their research on the internet and know that that's the look that they're looking for.
All right, we've got to take another break here, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Did you know that some of the best home builders in the entire nation are right here in Parker County? Hello, everyone. This is Lynn Bearden, president of First National Bank of Weatherford. Our lenders believe your family deserves the best when it comes to your dream home. First National Bank is proud to support the Master Builder Show on QXFM. First National Bank in Weatherford has been building homes in Parker County since 1880. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
YourCircleOfWealth.com. A recent study by one of the world's largest financial institutions estimates that over 90% of baby boomers will not retire financially independent. We have prepared a financial report entitled Your Circle of Wealth. Learn how changing the way you manage your money can dramatically increase your wealth. To get a copy, you may go to www.yourcircleofwealth.com and enter the passcode Gibson, Gibson. That's yourcircleofwealth.com.
Zion Hill Estates, 5 minutes from the center of Weatherford. Grocery stores, hospitals, banks, and department stores. In the Peaster School District. 1 acre lot minimums give you space to spread your arms and enjoy country living. Jim Gibson will build you the home of your dreams in Zion Hill Estates. North of the square to 920, left to Zion Hill Road, then 2.4 miles to Zion Hill Estates. Jim Gibson would like to show you the land in his energy-efficient model home. You can call Jim at 682-429-2116.
Fort Worth Lighting, serving the building professional in Parker, Wise, Palo Pinto, and surrounding counties. Services include planned takeoff, site walkthrough, and delivery. For an appointment with a Fort Worth Lighting consultant, the number is 817-597-6320, or the website is fortworthlighting.com. Again, it's 817-597-6320 for Fort Worth Lighting.
Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, 2401 Zion Hill Road, Weatherford, Texas, 682-429-2116. We specialize in homes to suit each and every individual that expects special attention. We help design, finance, and close on every home we build. We use green building techniques in all of our homes. You can contact Jim at masterbuildershow.com. Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, Weatherford, 682-429-2116. Welcome back to the Master Builder Show. I'm your host, Jim Gibson. Today's show is sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford. And quit laughing over there. My guest today is Bart Bagley with Duramar. And my wife that's laughing over here is Jean Gibson.
Because they're selling the three-legged chicken. Don't you find that funny?
High dollar.
Yeah, right. Okay, quick question. I have worked with Duramar for a long time. And how on earth do you guide somebody to make a decision?
I try not to guide them too much.
Well, it's confusing. There's so many colors.
You're talking about specific products, because like on the
No, I mean,
granite,
if I come in there and say, I need kitchen countertops, where do we begin?
they send them to look at the slabs, don't you?
Well,
At the
there's,
showroom?
it gets to be kind of overwhelming because we want to
Yeah.
offer all the products, you know,
Yeah.
and all the lines of colors and all that of every product.
Yeah.
And so it can be kind of overwhelming. It's almost like you want to have an idea going into it if you can, or go in with an open mind where, hey, I'm just going to look at everything and then go sit on it for a while and then come back, because what happens is if you go in there and you have no idea what you're looking at, you may be the type of person that when they see what they like, they're going to go, that's what I love. Mm-hmm. But if you really have no idea after you get through looking, it can be kind of overwhelming. But it is good to have a somewhat educated consumer. And so if you've done some research on the type of countertop that you really want, or if you want to come in and talk to us and you know, get educated by, you know, us who do we do all the products, we can lean you or kind of nod you in the right direction, but without making those decisions for you. I mean, I have a lot of customers or ladies that come in, and it's mostly the ladies who are making these decorating decorating choices. What do you think? You've seen a million of these, and all I can do is tell them what I think, and that's what I stress to them. It's just an opinion. You know, I have my sense of what I think looks good, and they have theirs. And so what I usually tell them is, you tell me what you think looks good, and I'll tell you if it looks bad.
Right.
Ah,
well, a lot of them will come in and they want to match all their vanity countertops and all that sort of stuff, and they're using different materials a lot of times just because of expense.
And that's a great idea too. Is when you come in and you're looking or exploring countertop options, bring whatever it is that you do know you like in paint colors, tile.
Are you saying your colors are? What I see on that sample is true and consistent?
Well, it depends.
So if I'm going to do that kind of matching?
It depends on the product. Now, if it's granite or marble or any natural or God-made stone, that's not the case. Those items need to be viewed at the wholesaler, because every batch is unique. And as they dig them up out of the ground, there's the color.
Yeah.
But on any man-made or where there's a recipe, so to speak, involved, where we're mass-producing or repeating a certain color or pattern, you know, those items can be picked out at the showroom.
Well, you probably need to pick out all your natural products first, since they're, you can create the other ones to match.
And I think that's a great idea. I usually recommend that people start off with their granite.
Yeah.
Because they're going to find a granite they fall in love with, and there's so many products of tile and so many paint colors that you're more than likely going to be able to find something to complement that countertop rather than the other way around. But it is nice to have a direction. You know, these are the kind of colors I like. You know, or this is the, I either like the particulated or I like the movement, or that way we have a direction to go into.
Excellent.
Tell us how to get in touch with you, Bart, if I wanted to order or just come and see your showroom.
Well, we have a showroom in Weatherford, and it's off of 180.
Okay.
Our main number to the Granbury showroom is 817-910-2454. And you can talk to the ladies there, and we'll follow up with you, and or you can come down to the showroom in Granbury or come to the one in Weatherford.
Like y'all have. I think you've done all my work for the past 7 years. I mean, it's incredible. Your craftsmanship is excellent. I think your integrity. I mean, anything I've ever asked you to do has been done.
We try real hard.
And that's something we've said over and over again. Service is critical with us.
Service is very critical, because we've gone and
it's our name too.
Put in desk and stuff adjoining the kitchen countertops, and we forgot to tell you to bore a hole for the computer lines to go down through, and y'all just come right back and
well, building is an evolution. People think that plan is where it's at,
right?
But you guys have the hard job of actually making that plan come to reality. So we like to think that we're assisting the builder or the homeowner in making what they want or their dream actually come to reality. So
every home we build, we try to make it a work of art, because it's like a puzzle that goes together, and if you put it all together right, it works and lasts for many generations.
That's right.
And we've got to wrap up this week's show according to Ace here, and we will see you next Tuesday.